This is New York. And this is also New York. Yes, this is what most people think of when they hear New York. But did you know that New York State is home to the largest publicly protected area in the contiguous U.S., covering 6 million acres and larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, Glacier, the Grand Canyon, and the Great Smoky Mountains combined? Come with me on a visual journey through New York State as we embrace the calm, the classic, and the chaotic nature of New York. Our journey begins at the eastern edge of New York, where the land narrows and the Atlantic takes over. At Montauk Point, the lighthouse stands at a place defined by exposure. Wind moves freely here, carrying the sound of open water across the bluffs. From above, the coastline feels unfinished, shaped continuously by tide and weather. It is a place that speaks less of arrival and more of departure. A reminder that New York begins not with boundaries, but with horizon. Traveling west, the shoreline softens as we reach Sag Harbor. Once a working whaling port, the village now rests quietly beside its harbor. Boats sit low in the water, streets curve gently toward the docks, and the past feels present without demanding attention. Sag Harbor appears settled and human-scaled. A place built to face the sea, but not to challenge it. Beyond the working harbor of Sag Harbor, the land begins to open again. Roads stretch longer, bordered by tall grasses and quiet hedgerows. As the eastern end of Long Island turns toward the sea, the Hamptons unfold gradually, not as a single place, but as a sequence of coastal towns shaped by light and space. The landscape feels carefully balanced. Wide beaches meet rolling dunes, and homes sit back from the shoreline, allowing the ocean to remain the dominant presence. Here, mornings arrive softly. Sunlight moves across open fields and salt air drifts inland on a steady breeze. The pace slows naturally, guided less by schedule and more by the rhythm of tide and season. Though often associated with summer crowds, the Hamptons reveal their character most clearly in quieter moments. Long stretches of shoreline, empty roads at dusk, and the calm distance between one village and the next. It is a place shaped as much by atmosphere as by geography, where the edge of New York feels expansive, unhurried, and gently turned toward the horizon. Farther along the island, land thins once again at Fire Island, where ocean and bay exist only a short walk apart. Here, movement slows naturally. Communities stretch along narrow dunes, shaped by sand rather than streets. Fire Island feels temporary and delicate. A reminder that some places endure, not because they resist nature, but because they learn to live alongside it. As the barrier beaches fade behind us, the shoreline changes character. The openness of Fire Island gives way to something older, louder, and more layered. Coney Island stretches along the Atlantic with a different kind of presence. The boardwalk traces a long, familiar line between city and sea. The ocean continues its steady rhythm, while behind it rise amusement rides, rooftops, and neighborhoods, shaped by generations of summer tradition. Here, the coast feels lived in. Laughter carries on the wind, colors move against the sky, and motion seems constant. Even when the beach itself grows quiet, Coney Island has long been a place of escape, where the city meets the water not to retreat but to exhale. It holds nostalgia and energy in equal measure, shaped as much by memory as by movement. At the edge of Brooklyn, the Atlantic still arrives with the same waves. But here, it does so alongside music, lights, and the enduring sense of arrival that defines New York's shoreline. As the Atlantic recedes behind us, the land begins to compress and New York City rises at the horizon. Here, the state's pulse changes. Energy consolidates, streets layer over one another, and history is stacked like the buildings themselves. The city stretches endlessly, a lattice of water and stone, bridges and avenues, each corner holding stories of commerce, ambition, and creativity. The journey begins in Staten Island, where the Staten Island Greenbelt offers unexpected expanses of green amidst urban surroundings. Rolling hills, quiet reservoirs, and forested trails appear almost suspended, a gentle prelude to the city's dense rhythm. Looking downward, the bridges linking Staten Island to Brooklyn and New Jersey seem to trace the paths of countless travelers who arrived here seeking opportunity, connection, or simply passage. Crossing into Brooklyn, the landscape tightens, yet the city feels layered rather than crowded. Neighborhoods ripple with color, architecture, and history. The Brooklyn Heights Promenade offers a vantage point to witness Manhattan across the river, a mirror of ambition reflected in water. The skyline rises in jagged patterns, punctuated by rivers, parks, and spires that mark centuries of growth. Lower Manhattan tells a different story entirely. Streets converge like tributaries, directing movement toward the tip of the island, where the harbor welcomes boats from across the globe. Battery Park, with its open lawns and pathways, contrasts with the vertical density behind it. Here, the city balances motion and pause, commerce and contemplation, history and presence. A place that hums even when the air is still. Out in the harbor, the Statue of Liberty rises with calm permanence. From above, she appears steady against moving tides, her presence unchanged as boats pass endlessly below. More than a monument, she feels like a marker of arrival, of possibility, of the moment when land comes into view after long journeys across open water. Nearby, Ellis Island rests low and quiet. Its buildings face the harbor, where millions once approached with uncertainty and hope intertwined. The island feels reflective rather than grand, a place where countless beginnings converge and where the weight of memory lingers gently above the shoreline. Moving inland, the streets of Lower Manhattan tighten and accelerate. Here, the city's earliest foundations remain visible beneath its modern form. Buildings press close, traffic flows in steady patterns, and history layers itself upward rather than outward. At the southern tip of the island, Wall Street cuts a narrow corridor through towering stone. The scale feels inverted. Massive institutions compressed into a surprisingly small space. The energy here is not loud, but constant, driven by motion, calculation, and global connection that extends far beyond what can be seen from the street. As the island stretches northward, the skyline begins to climb. The Empire State Building rises above its surroundings with unmistakable clarity. From the sky, its form feels purposeful, a vertical statement of ambition reaching upward from the grid below. Even surrounded by newer towers, it remains a symbol of an era when height itself represented belief in the future. Moving north along the Hudson River, the skyscrapers gradually recede. Upper Manhattan rises more gently, punctuated by Central Park, a swath of green that cuts through the urban fabric. From above, the park appears both planned and wild, offering the sense of air, light, and space amid the surrounding density. Its pathways invite wandering. Its lakes and meadows create rhythm, and the surrounding streets tell stories of neighborhoods shaped by centuries of migration, industry, and imagination. Finally, the Bronx greets the traveler with its bridges, riverfront parks, and neighborhoods that have produced culture, art, and resilience. As our journey drifts northward along the river, the towers shrink behind us. The urban rhythm gives way to a gentler cadence. The Hudson itself becomes the guide, flowing steadily inland, past towns that lean into the water, past forests and farmland that appear almost untouched from above. Here, the journey moves from concentrated energy to expansive possibility, the state opening one chapter at a time, carrying the traveler toward history, nature, and the first highlands that mark the Catskills ahead. As the skyline fades behind us, the Hudson River begins to widen, and the pace of the state changes almost immediately. The water no longer reflects towers and steel, but wooded slopes, open sky, and towns that turn gently toward the river rather than pressing against it. Here, New York begins to feel older, shaped less by acceleration and more by continuity. The journey north first passes Sleepy Hollow, where the river bends quietly beside church steeples and shaded streets. The village appears settled and timeless, its reputation shaped as much by imagination as by geography. The nearby hills and burial grounds remind visitors that storytelling has long been woven into this landscape. Farther along the eastern bank, Tarrytown stretches between hillside neighborhoods and the water below. The town's position feels intentional, elevated enough to overlook the river, yet close enough to depend on it. Rail lines, marinas, and historic homes trace the pattern of growth that followed the Hudson north for generations. Continuing north, the valley opens into farmland and broad river views near Cold Spring. Nestled between mountains and shoreline, the town feels compact yet purposeful. From overhead, its streets lead naturally toward the water, reflecting its long history as a river crossing and gathering place. The surrounding highlands rise steeply behind it, signaling that the terrain is beginning to change. Beyond Cold Spring lies Beacon, a town reshaped by reinvention. Once industrial, it now blends history with creativity. Its riverfront and hillside neighborhoods, linked by trails and long views. Beacon feels transitional, a bridge between the lower valley and the landscapes still unfolding farther north. As the valley approaches its upper reaches, the Hudson grows broader and calmer near Albany, where inland travel and river navigation have intersected for centuries. Bridges span the water, connecting regions and histories. From this point, the Hudson Valley begins to give way to something new. The capital region ahead and beyond it, the rising landscapes that lead toward mountains and wilderness. Leaving the Hudson behind, the road begins to rise, almost imperceptibly at first. The river's wide calm gives way to narrower valleys, winding roads and forested slopes that fold inward. The Catskills announce themselves not through sharp peaks, but through layers, hills stacked upon hills, soft edges concealing rugged interiors. The village of Woodstock appears tucked within these folds, surrounded by trees that seem to close in gently around it. The town feels more like a clearing than a settlement. Its streets curve naturally, shaped by terrain rather than planning. The journey continues along Esopus Creek, deeper into the mountains. Water slips over stones and bends through forest shadows, carving its way through narrow corridors. From above, the creek reveals the Catskills' true character. Not dramatic cliffs, but persistent movement, patient erosion, and a landscape shaped slowly over time. Rising higher, forest roads lead toward Catskill Falls, one of the region's most iconic natural features. The surrounding terrain grows steeper, and the canopy opens just enough to reveal the drop below. The falls appear sudden, a break in continuity, reminding visitors that beneath the Catskills' gentle exterior lies surprising power. Deeper into the interior lies Andes, a small mountain town shaped by isolation and endurance. Roads here feel less like connectors and more like lifelines, tracing paths through valleys carved long before settlement arrived. Scenic routes wind onward through Catskill Park, where the forest seems unbroken for miles. The park becomes a vast quilt of green, ridges, hollows, streams, and shadow. There are no clear boundaries, only gradual transitions that blur where one place ends and another begins. As the journey slows among these mountains, the Catskills reveal their quiet purpose. This is not a land of spectacle meant to impress at first glance. It is a place that invites patience, where stillness feels natural, where movement happens slowly, and where the landscape encourages travelers to linger rather than pass through. Ahead, the mountains begin to soften once more. The terrain gradually opens, signaling a descent toward broader valleys and inland waters. The road now turns north and west, carrying the journey toward the lakes, gorges, and wide horizons of central New York. As the mountains fall away behind us, the land relaxes. Ridges soften into rolling hills. Forests give way to open fields. and the horizon stretches farther in every direction. Central New York unfolds slowly, a region shaped by water, weather, and time rather than elevation. Here, the pace of travel eases, and the journey begins to feel expansive.
The road first reaches Cooperstown, resting at the southern edge of Otsego Lake.
From above, the village appears carefully placed, its streets aligned with the curve of the shoreline. The town carries a sense of tradition, not frozen in the past, but anchored by it, offering a gentle arrival into the region often known as leatherstocking country. Mornings here arrive softly, with mist drifting just above the surface. Beyond the lake, small towns and farmland define leatherstocking country. Roads curve gently through open land, barns and silos punctuating the distance. The region feels grounded, shaped by routine, seasons, and a long familiarity with the land. This is a place where stories feel carried forward rather than replaced. As the road turns north, the land begins to feel less settled. Towns spread farther apart, forests grow deeper, and distance itself becomes part of the landscape. Northern New York is defined not by what fills it, but by what remains open. Wide stretches of quiet terrain that prepare the traveler for the Adirondacks ahead. The first signs appear gradually. Forests thicken, roads narrow. The horizon begins to rise. Then the Adirondack Park reveals itself, not as a single destination, but as an entire world. Encompassing millions of acres, it is the largest publicly protected landscape in the contiguous United States. From above, the scale becomes immediately clear. Forest rolls outward in every direction, interrupted only by lakes, rivers, and the occasional road threading through. Within the park lies Saratoga Springs, a town that feels both refined and relaxed. Tree-lined streets, historic buildings, and open parks create a sense of tradition carried lightly. The town feels orderly yet welcoming, a place where culture and nature meet without competing. Northward, the land rises toward Lake George, often called the Queen of American Lakes. The water appears almost island-studded, stretching between mountain walls that guide the eye forward. Boats trace slow arcs across its surface, and the shoreline alternates between wilderness and settlement, never fully giving itself to either. Beyond the village, Lake George narrows and deepens, leading toward historic ground at Fort William Henry. The fort's position becomes clear, placed deliberately at the meeting of water routes, once serving as a gateway between regions. Its presence anchors the southern entrance to the Adirondacks. Continuing north, the terrain grows more rugged near Ticonderoga, where history and geography converge once again. Fort Ticonderoga overlooks the narrow passage between Lake George and Lake Champlain. Water corridors, elevated ground, and strategic crossings that shaped the movement of entire armies. Deeper into the park, settlements become sparse. Lakes appear unexpectedly between trees, reflecting sky and cloud with startling clarity. The High Peaks region rises in layered silhouettes, forming the state's highest elevations. These mountains do not dominate suddenly. They accumulate, ridge by ridge, until their presence feels undeniable. Here, the Adirondacks reveal their true character. Not dramatic in isolation, but powerful in their continuity. Forests stretch uninterrupted. Roads feel temporary. Human structures appear small and respectful, woven carefully into the land rather than imposed upon it. As the journey slows among these mountains, the sense of distance deepens. Sound seems to carry farther. Movement becomes more deliberate. The Adirondacks do not invite haste. They reward patience. Forests stretch outward in broad tracts. Towns appear less frequently, and the sense of remoteness deepens. The North Country feels shaped by space itself, a region where silence travels far and movement feels intentional. Nearby lies Lake Placid, framed by peaks rising gently around it. The village feels compact, held together by its setting. The lake sits calmly at its center, mirroring both town and mountain. The landscape here feels balanced, energetic in history, yet peaceful in presence. The town appears woven between lakes and hills, its streets shaped by the terrain rather than laid across it. The surrounding waters reflect the sky almost constantly, lending the area a quiet brightness even on overcast days. Eventually, the land begins to slope downward again. The forests thin slightly, signaling the western edge of the park. Beyond these mountains lies another transition, toward rivers, borderlands, and the long waters that lead toward Lake Ontario and the far western reaches of the state. As the mountains begin to fall away behind us, the land opens once more. Along the northern edge of the state, the St. Lawrence River emerges as both boundary and passageway. Its waters flow outward through countless channels, forming the Thousand Islands region. Islands scatter across the surface like fragments of green, each separated by narrow currents that shimmer in the light. The Thousand Islands create one of New York's most distinctive aerial landscapes. Homes, trees, and docks occupy slivers of land barely larger than the structures themselves. The pattern feels almost dreamlike. Water and land interwoven so closely, they appear inseparable. Here, the journey reaches the state's northern frontier. Canada lies just beyond the river, close enough to sense yet distant enough to feel symbolic. The land has carried us from ocean shore to border water, from dense cities to open distance. The North Country slowly recedes behind us. Eventually, the horizon opens into the vastness of Lake Ontario. The shoreline feels almost oceanic, wide, wind-shaped, and constantly shifting. Waves roll toward the land with steady persistence, and the sky seems larger here, unbroken by elevation. As the route turns south and west once more, the Finger Lakes appear like long impressions left in the earth, narrow, deep, and remarkably still. Carved by ancient ice, these waters shape nearly everything around them. Roads bend to follow their edges, towns settle at their tips, and hills rise gently from the shoreline, as if drawn upward by the lakes themselves. The journey begins near Ithaca, where hills gather around the southern edge of Cayuga Lake. The town appears suspended between water and elevation. What distinguishes Ithaca is not its size, but its setting. A place where streets end suddenly in open views, and where nature presses close from every direction. Just beyond town, Toggennick Falls reveals itself with quiet drama. Dropping in a single plunge, the waterfall interrupts the landscape with unexpected scale. From above, the gorge leading toward the falls forms a deep channel through the land, guiding both water and movement toward the lake below. Nearby, Buttermilk Falls State Park and Robert H. Treman State Park carve narrow passages through layered stone. Water steps downward through pools and curves, shaping the rock patiently over centuries. The gorges appear hidden until the last moment, sudden openings in otherwise gentle terrain. Cayuga Lake extends northward, long and narrow, anchoring the region. From above, vineyards, farms, and small communities cling to its edges. The lake draws the landscape inward, creating a sense of direction and flow that mirrors the earlier role of the Hudson, though here, the mood is quieter and more rural. Seneca Lake, the largest and deepest of the Finger Lakes. Its length becomes almost hypnotic, stretching far beyond the visible horizon. Vineyards trace its slopes in careful lines, reflecting a relationship between land and water that feels both deliberate and enduring. At the southern end lies Watkins Glen, where the landscape suddenly contracts. The village rests quietly until the gorge reveals itself. The narrow channel cuts sharply through the hillside, guiding water downward through stone corridors that feel sculpted rather than broken. The contrast between calm lake and dramatic gorge defines the character of this place. Following the western ridges brings the journey toward Keuka Lake, uniquely shaped and branching like a fork through the hills. Its form feels intimate, less imposing, more personal. Towns along its shores seem woven into the terrain, shaped by elevation rather than expansion. As the route continues northward, the Finger Lakes reveal their agricultural heart. Vineyards extend across slopes, farms occupy wide valleys, and the land opens into broad views that stretch uninterrupted. The region feels ordered yet organic, a place shaped through long familiarity rather than rapid change. Passing between lakes, the journey becomes one of rhythm. Water appears, disappears, then re-emerges again. Each lake carries its own mood, yet all share a sense of continuity. The land between them never feels empty, only gently waiting. The road now stretches long and level, carrying the journey across the broad interior of western New York. Here, the land feels open and grounded, shaped by agriculture, rivers, and industry that once powered the state's growth. Distance becomes easier to read, and the horizon holds steady as the final chapter unfolds. The Genesee River guides the way toward Rochester, cutting a deep path through the city before reaching Lake Ontario. From above, the river forms a dramatic divide, a reminder that even in urban settings, water continues to shape movement and memory. The falls within the city echo this force, carrying momentum forward. South of the city, the land suddenly opens into Letchworth State Park. Often called the Grand Canyon of the East, the gorge appears vast and unexpected, stretching for miles as the Genesee River winds far below. Waterfalls spill into the canyon in steady motion, carving a landscape that feels powerful yet composed. Beyond the gorge, farmland resumes its quiet rhythm, guiding the journey toward the state's western edge. The city of Buffalo emerges near the eastern end of Lake Erie. Once a gateway between the Great Lakes and the interior, the city still reflects that role, shaped by water, trade, and movement. The shoreline widens as the road follows the Niagara River northward. The water here accelerates, narrowing and quickening as it approaches one of the most recognizable natural features in the world. Then Niagara Falls appears, not suddenly, but with growing intensity. The river's transformation becomes unmistakable. Calm water compresses, surges forward, and drops away in a continuous curtain of motion. Mist rises endlessly, blurring the boundary between river and sky. The falls feel less like a destination and more like a force, constant, overwhelming, and alive. As the road finally grows quiet, the movement across New York begins to settle into memory. From the first light along the Atlantic shore to the last drifting mist above the western falls, the state reveals itself not as a single place, but as a passage, shaped by water, time, and the countless paths that connect one region to another. Here, mountains rise without spectacle, yet endure for generations. Rivers guide travelers north and west, carrying stories long before roads ever existed. Small towns hold their ground beside vast wilderness, and cities grow upward while the land beneath them remains constant. New York is often spoken of in moments, a skyline, a waterfall, a village street, but its truest character lives in the space between those moments, in the quiet miles, in the transitions, in the slow understanding that comes only through travel. To move across this state is to watch the land change gently beneath you, coastline becoming city, city becoming river, river becoming mountain, and mountain opening once more into wide, patient horizon. And as the journey ends, it becomes clear that New York is not defined by where it begins or where it finishes, but by the feeling of moving through it, a place shaped not just to be seen, but to be followed.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this journey through New York and would like to see more travel documentaries like this, click like and subscribe.